Hi, everyone. This is Justin Allen Hayes, founder, executive director of Voices for Voices. And today we have a bonus episode. Today we're going to talk about burnout in the workplace and what some of those factors that kind of creep in there, and what we can do as individuals and human beings to work through uh, that process as best as we can. So today we are joined by Rebecca LeMasters. She is one of our board members at Voices for Voices. She has over 15 years of experience in the nonprofit world as a consultant and also in the executive space, uh, in the mental health and recovery space. And we're gonna just have a conversation and share some information just on a more of a casual setting. And Rebecca, thank you for joining us.
Yeah, hi. It's good to be here. Very casual setting in the humble abode in the corner of my kitchen
Yeah. Oh yeah.
today. But
Yeah.
I think that since COVID, we're all a little bit more used to this. So of course, as soon as the introduction comes on, a phone call comes in. That's kind of how these
That's kind
things
of how it
go.
goes. Yeah.
So, but yeah.
Do you want to just talk about, I know you've had some, recent experience and just overall experience with burnout in the workplace. Like, how does that make you operate as a human being? And maybe that will resonate with some people that may be in similar positions, and how to try to work through those.
Yeah, for sure. So, if you and just sidebar, if you hear anything, I have a 110-pound like pup at my feet snoring in the meantime as well. But
Mhm.
yeah, I think that it definitely causes some um some unknown and extra anxiety. I have had some experiences lately and since COVID, I think that were unusual to myself. I think really being a female in a higher profile and more executive termed profession, I've always dealt with a little bit of a more high stress job. I've always dealt with conversations that are a little bit different than some of my colleagues, and some of my family members don't understand. And you know how it goes: more money, more problems, more, the higher bracket of salary you make, the more expectations you have on you. And the more expectations you have on you, I think the stress is so much higher, and but on the flip side of that, you really have to be an advocate for yourself as well. Like, you have to know, excuse me, I thought for sure I was going to sneeze, but you have to really know what type of environment you're entering into, what type of, job you're entering into, what your contract says, how to read your contract, how to know the longevity of your contracts, how to know the executive language as well as, the layman's language. I think that, kind of covers you when certain things arise. It's a shame that we have to look forward to things coming up and, kind of defending ourselves in our positions. But there's so many companies now that since COVID are just looking at people for like a 6-month stint, or a 3 to 6 month stint. Like, oh, if it doesn't work out with them, it's a dime a dozen. We'll just get another person to come in at a lower salary. It doesn't matter. That's kind of, I mean, there's a flip side to this coin. COVID made things, a lot of people say that it opened up the job market, but it also opened up the job market in a little bit of a more stressful and negative way too, because a lot of people will come in for a less salary and they'll come in, into a position without having any loyalty to the person that is holding that position now, and there's so many recruiters out there. There's so many people that are hiring right now that employers oftentimes do, they feel like that, like it's all a trial run. So I know the stressors that a lot of people have on them are, the everyday grind. But, on top of the everyday grind, you may be grinding as hard as you can and doing the best job you can, but there are no longer 90-day, whenever you would go in for, your 90-day, what am I trying to say?
Your
Like you would go
probationary
in,
period.
you'd go in for your review,
Yeah.
your 90-day review, and they tell you, what you had to work on, what you didn't have to work on, how good you were doing. Or, I mean, like I haven't had one of those in probably 4 or 5 years.
Wow.
It's like 90 days just comes and goes now. And, they kind of just that the 90-day mark is when they start picking you apart, no matter how good of a job you're doing. And I know that sometimes we reference back to this, but a lot of people in the workplace, that are dealing with recovery, you really have to have your support system intact, because if you're in kind of a higher stress environment, you also need to know that you have someone and something to fall back on if you're dealing with all of that at work. So I think that some of the advice that I have is, one, what I led with, know one, what your worth is going into a position, and don't take it. Don't settle for it. Don't resent the position that you took for a lower wage. If you do end up taking it for a lower wage, don't resent it later, because that's the decision you chose to make. Two, if you do get offered, what you feel that you are worth, then try to work your full potential and don't take advantage of it, because there's a million other people out there waiting to take that position as well. And three, I think that you really need to understand your employer, understand your workspace. And if you are not happy there, you need to get out. So many people are like, I'm just going to stay. I'm just going to let them fire me. I'm just going to file unemployment. But that really just rakes the system. I am against that. I would say don't stay in a bad situation, because it really does cause PTSD and bad mannerisms and habits for your next position. And that employer can say anything they want about you, when you're moving on to that next position. If you don't resign on common ground, and resign when you know that it's gotten too tough, or if you don't want to resign, go to your employer and make sure that first you send an email. And if all these employers now text, it drives me crazy. Text, yeah, it's great, but it's so unprofessional to have a document that is in text style. Like that's fine to text, but also put it in an email that says, I'm feeling a little bit uncomfortable with the position that I've been put in. I feel like I need some extra training. I saw in our handbook that there is a time and a place, and that, that this training was offered, or this title actually covers what you're asking me to do. It's not actually under my job duties. That is part of you being an advocate for yourself, and that employer is either going to respect you for that, and you're going to either grow in that position. It's going to be your forever job, or they're going to be like, oh no, they're trying to, set us up for a fall. And so hopefully you have the type of employer that, is really going to respect you, and feels that you're trying to make that your forever workplace, and you can come to a common ground with them,
Yeah,
so
very
it's
much.
another part of advocacy for yourself, I guess, another part of advice, I would say.
Yeah. Well, our time is just about out on this episode. So, Rebecca, we want to thank you for your time, all the work that you do in the mental health and recovery
Yeah.
space. And we look forward to, uh, obviously, as an organization, having you meet some of our supporters, our constituents, and definitely at our third annual Branding Day event coming up on Friday, October 13th at the Leona Farris Lodge in Stow, Ohio. Get your tickets, click the link in our profile, or you can head over to www.voicesforvoices.org and find your ticket. Or if you are an individual that won't be able to make it, that is okay too. You can support our organization by following the donate link on our website as well. So until next time, I am Justin Allen Hayes, founder and executive director at Voices for Voices. And we hope you have a great day and be a voice for you or somebody in need. Take care.